All right, we're back. We only have 3 problems here for our 7.3 stuff, so it shouldn't take us too long for this video. We are first going to start with simplifying rational expressions. And remember, our theme of this whole section is to factor. So, assuming we all know how to factor, this shouldn't be too much. It just takes a little bit of a time. So, it says simplify the expression, identify any excluded values. So, in my numerator, I have negative 4x squared minus 4x. This is a binomial. When I have a binomial, which means 2 terms, with a common factor, I can take that common factor out front. I can take a negative 4x out of both of these, which would leave me with x plus 1. In the denominator, I have x squared minus x minus 2. So this is a trinomial that I think of the factors of 2 that have a difference of negative 1. Well, obviously that's 1 and 2, but I'm going to want x minus 2 times x plus 1. And here is the fun part. We see that we have the common factor of x plus 1, which we'll be able to cancel. So our final answer is negative 4x over x minus 2, but our excluded values come from any value that would make the denominator equal 0 from the beginning. So we cannot equal positive 2 or negative 1. Those come from both of our factors. All right, that is simplifying. Basically just factoring and canceling out common factors. Number 6 should say find the product of the rational expressions. When you find the product, that means you're multiplying. To multiply, we just go straight across numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So basically we can write this as one big fraction, but we're going to factor at the same time. So I'm first going to start with x squared plus 3x minus 4. So we ask ourselves, what factors of 4 have a difference of 3? That would be 1 and 4. Positive 3, so that's going to be x minus 1 times x plus 4. Then we're looking at this binomial, 2x squared plus 4x, and we think a GCF. I can take a 2x out of both of those, and that leaves me with x plus 2. Now let's look in the denominator down here, x squared plus 4x plus 4. This one is saying, because this is a positive 4, what factors of 4 add to 4? Well, that would be 2 and 2. So these are actually identical factors. And finally, the last trinomial here, x squared minus 4x plus 3. The only factors of 3 are 1 and 3. And if we're multiplying to be positive, adding to be a negative 4, these both have to be negative. All right. Before I start canceling things out, I'm going to do my excluded values first. It would be anything that make a factor in the denominator equal 0. So that would be negative 2, positive 1, and positive 3. Okay, let's see if we can cross anything out. Looks like I have an x plus 2 and an x plus 2. I have an x minus 1 and an x minus 1. That looks like all I can do. In my numerator, I'm going to write this as 2x times x plus 4 over x plus 2 times x minus 3. And that is the product. Finally, find the quotient of the rational expressions. The quotient is to divide, and remember that to divide expressions, we multiply by their reciprocal. So we keep the first fraction as is. We change this to multiplication, and we do the reciprocal of the second fraction. Okay, and just like any other thing, we are going to factor. So when I look my upper left here, this is a binomial that I have a GCF of 2x. So I can take 2x out of both of those terms, and I'm left with x minus 6. The denominator there, I have a positive 6 as my c value, which I could take 1 times 6 or 2 times 3, but I want to pick the pair that adds to 7. So that would be 1 and 6, but since it's negative 7, it would be x minus 1 and x minus 6. In the numerator of my second fraction, I have 3x minus 3. That's a binomial that I can take out the GCF of 3. And I'm left with x minus 1. And then I just have this 2x in the bottom, which I cannot do much with. Now, here's a big difference when we're doing division. The excluded values come from both denominators and the numerator of the second fraction, because that numerator used to be the denominator. Okay, so any variable factor, I have this x minus 1, I have x minus 6, I have x, and then I have x minus 1 again. Any of those would give me an excluded value. So my excluded values are positive 1, positive 6, and 0. So this is 1, 6, 0, but then I don't need to write 1 again for that one up top. Okay, let's cancel out anything we can. We have x minus 6's, we've got x minus 1's. Oh my gosh, and we have the 2 x's. So look at everything has canceled except for that 3 in the numerator. So your quotient is 3, but x can't be 1, 6, or 0. All right, guys, I hope you're having a great weekend, and I will see you on Tuesday.